HBCU Drumline Talk. My name is Ricardo Reese, and I'm joined by my brother in percussion, once again, EP the Great, also known as Elijah Powell. And before we get started this evening, man, Elijah, think back to our first episode. You know, our first episode was the pilot episode where we talked about, the most memorable battles pre-COVID. And look how far we've come. We've traveled a long ways. And this is our 20th episode. So I personally want to say thank you to our viewers. Thank you to our, share their story about their perspective drum lines in the schools that they do. And to our viewers, like I said, this is HBCU Drumline Talk. We're talking about HBCU drum lines, the culture, the effect on along with the marching band, the impact on our kids and our students. And tonight we have, for our 20th episode, man, it's been a while, Hampton University. And it is a pleasure to have Hampton on at this point in time. Then we have Mr. Ralph Nader, Mr. Alexander Hamilton, and Mr. Chalmers Reed. So without further ado, EP, you got anything you wanted to say?
I'm very excited to get these questions,
Yeah, man. So for our 20th episode, let's get on into it. And EP, I'll let you take over.
All right, so first question, talk to us about your journey in percussion. Whoever can go first.
Okay, right, I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go first. All right, so my journey in percussion started in middle school, of course. Started on alto sax because my mom made me play something melodic. And then 7th grade, halfway through, talked to the band director. I was able to switch after a couple of back and forths, but she caught me playing the drum set on the stage with my fingers because I didn't have no sticks. And then she said, okay, you can switch, because she was going to send me back to the beginning band. Fast forward to high school, did front ensemble, snare line, undergrad, marched at Virginia State University under E here.
E-State.
Snare line, yes, sir. Snare line, went to University of Louisville for grad school. I was the assistant percussion instructor for their drum line and also a student arranger. And then shortly after graduating, ended up at Hampton with the previous band director. He's like, did a short interview with me. He's like, you're the guy I want. So he had like one favor left with President Harvey, and he had me put my application in, and then now I'm here today.
Good for you. Good for you. Who's next?
I'll step in. So for myself, started banging on pots and pans, basically three years old. My parents bought me a drum set when I was 5. Grew up in Brooklyn, New York, in the projects, but a 5-year-old on a drum set on the 7th floor with neighbors all around, it didn't end too well. So the cops kept getting called, and my parents, they basically started putting me in like percussion classes, drum set classes. So I did that until I was 7, and then I was introduced to the Steppers marching band, which was Jackie Robinson Steppers, Brooklyn Steppers, BMAP, Brooklyn Music and Arts Program, and basically now Brooklyn United. So, it's just like, I was part of that organization from age 7 to 17. Through that time, I was part of the New Jersey Nets drumline. I was part of the New York Knicks drumline. I also participated in the Hampton high school band camp when I was in middle school and high school. So I was already introduced to the marching force style and approach at a young age. So I was kind of conditioned for it. But yeah, and then once I graduated, I went to Hampton University, broadcast journalism major. But then during my time here at Hampton, I marched 3 years at Blue Devils, snare, and then won 2 championships and a drum title with them. And then after I graduated, moved cross country, and I was basically a drum show coordinator, like a co-coordinator at Disneyland. Basically helped create drum shows in the park. And I was there for 10 years, basically creating, performing, and everything. And during that time, I was also touring with my BIOS co-partner, Harvey Thompson from A&T, because we're childhood friends, grew up together and everything. But we had the opportunity to tour with the German reggae band Seed. So we toured in Germany for 5 years, 3 months at a time. And then during that time, we created BYOS, which is BIOS, Bring Your Own Style. And then from there, everything flourished, and then we started taking more of the educational role. And then after time, Dr. Jones, he contacted me telling me that there was an open position for the communications specialist position at the university, which falls right into my degree. And I could also be the coordinator for the drumline as a second position. So that was my connection to the marching force.
What a resume. Isn't that great? What a resume. My goodness.
Oh, man.
Mr. Chambers.
Man, it's gonna suck going after Ralph, but I'm Chalmers Red. Mine started. I started playing in the Pentecostal church at 6 years old. My grandma made me go to church every Sunday, and she got tired of seeing me sleeping on the back pew, so she put me in the front and told me to go learn how to play. From there, I just played all through middle school in concert percussion. I went to the Winston-Salem State University where I marched, and I was the bass captain. After that, I taught a few high schools in North Carolina, and one day Dr. Jones gave me a call and was like, "Hey, I like what you're doing, and I want to help you get better with it." So I transitioned to Hampton, Virginia, where he has reinstilled my love for music. I'm currently enrolled at Berkeley, finishing up my music degree in my last semester, but it's just been a blessing on this journey.
Good for you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Wow. Got some strong resumes here, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys are cheating. You got an all-star percussion staff. I'm by myself at Virginia State, so y'all cheating. Well, no, good stuff.
A stacked squad,
Yeah,
power
man.
squad. I think just piggybacking to one of our episodes that we had earlier in the season where folks were really talking about, hey, look, I was really looking to join an all-star staff to build a program. And, it's really great to see folks really getting together and just building a staff. That's really great. So next thing, I know everyone's outside of Elijah and myself are from Hampton at this point. So please talk to us about some of the long-lasting traditions at Hampton's University in regards to their drumline.
Oh, man. Well, first and foremost, the drumline sticky situation, they always going to bring that confidence. They're always going to bring that action. They're going to be about it. They're going to bring that precision. And then they're also going to bring that enthusiasm, which is the energy behind it. But most and foremost, we're here to just rock the show, perform the best that we can, and basically engage as much as we can with our audience, no matter who it is. Basically the same approach as they've been doing. We're here to entertain, not just the people who know about drums, but people who don't know about drums. And we're trying to check off all the boxes, basically. Try not to basically leave any stone unturned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Hamilton.
So the way I've been approaching it is, since I didn't go to Hampton, trying to contact alumni and alumni drummers and really get to the essence of what it was that that kept them together, that bonded them together, that made them the section sticky situation. So that's really what I've been doing, is trying to contact them, really find out what it is that it's the essence, the origin, and then seeing some of the original cadences that they have. There's a visual element that they do that's very unique, that you don't really see from other people. It's not it's not always theatrics, but it's not always stick tricks either. Sometimes there's a mix of both. So trying to tap into a lot of the things that they were doing and bring that back, but in the new percussion way. So you look at how we played back in the day versus how we play now. It's definitely different. Rudimentally, it's different. The structure of the parts are different. The complexity is different. Back then, you could have twos going down the bass line and everybody lost their mind. Now you got to have threes, fours, 5-lits, 7-lits. You gotta be outside the box now to catch somebody's attention. So that's what we're trying to bring.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Reed, do you have anything to add to that?
Man, no, they hit it on. The one thing I will say is the lasting traditions of Hampton's percussion section. They're so strong. And when I first joined, and I was the same way as Mr. Hamilton. It's just all about learning to understand. Since neither one of us went to Hampton, we wanted to learn, understand, and respect. And just hearing the stories and seeing how the legacy goes back, to Rain Man, and you have Ralph Nader's. The legacy is strong. So it's always been our goal to just continue to build the sticky situation legacy the best that we can to make the alumni proud.
Good, thank you.
Okay. So I noticed them civil symbols, you know, and I'm not sure other schools have them. I think you guys might be the only ones. How did that come about? Um,
So, um, shorter version of the story, we reached out to Zildjian and Hollywood about switching to the 20-inch cymbals. That was the first thing because Dr. Jones came from A&T. He's used to, 20-inch cymbals, the Z5Z, all of that stuff. So he wanted to kind of bring some of that culture up with him without taking away from the things that we did. He's like, just look at it, see if they're able to play the parts with the 20-inch cymbals and go from there. After that, he wanted to do something unique. So we started looking at our marching drums and the new uniform design. We had a little bit of silver on the new uniform, and he wanted to accentuate that with both with the drum section, and something that could be visible during daylight and also with under the floodlights. Something that's going to stick out, be unique. And so we tested a couple of different finishes to see which one really gave us the best look and sound. My biggest holdup was I don't want to sacrifice the sound for a look. And so we really just had to test a couple of things out and see what worked best. So the cymbals are very customized. I'm not sure if I can go all the way into those details, but it's very customized. But the silver it's very unique, as you can see. We kind of go by the Silver Surfers. So that's something that we're something that we're proud of, with that going.
Yeah, let me say this, those symbols do stick out. So, I mean, that is a good look. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mr. Red, did you want to chime in on that?
He's just being modest. What he really wanted to say was, that's the one thing that you did not have at BHU, so we made sure we had it.
All right, all right. So everyone on here has marched at an HBCU, and we got a couple of folks here on the line who are instructors as well. And this next question really talks about that transition from marching in an HBCU drumline and doing that, being a drumline captain, to now moving on to a higher role in an educator. And please talk to us about the demands of a percussion instructor, especially at your school.
I would say the demands just as equal as being a parent and having a child. Basically, you have those same responsibilities. You have to mentor, you have to instruct, you have to uplift, you have to motivate, you have to encourage them daily. So it's beyond just drumming. It's like you're molding minds, you're molding like young individuals that's gonna pass down what you basically taught them. So just on a approach level, I would say you have to approach it as if you are taking care of your children. These are our babies, and now what we produce, that's going to be our outcome. So it's just more so like approaching it like that way. And then I'm sorry, Pam, you can go ahead and talk. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I was actually kind of following the same line. There's a lot of role plays that you do that you don't anticipate. So in a lot of cases, you are that mentor, teaching about manhood. For men and female, I'd always tell the ladies when they join the line, you don't turn 18 until the seal is affixed. So meaning they don't turn 18 until you graduate. So I want you to kind of live in that. It's not a suppression or anything like that, but just, have a standard for yourself and, learn as you're here. You also find yourself helping with the scholarship, their school studies, challenging them so they can persevere. And then, like Ralph said, just uplifting them. There's times like band camp is hard, the season it's hard, really reaching out to me like, hey guys, I know it's tough. I know we've been doing this for hours, but let's do this one more time. Let's put that energy in, practice like you perform. But it's, just reaching out and, really being there for them, being accessible. Being an instructor is an interesting position because there's a level of vulnerability that you have to give to your students, because what you heard in your head and put on paper, you're trying to get them to recreate. So it's a little level of vulnerability in that also.
Good. So basically just a nurturing environment, transitioning from the role of actually being in the drum line, which is something totally different than obviously being the instructor. Now you're on the other side and you really get to look more in depth. And, you know, EP, we've talked about this several times before, and you actually said some great things. Hey, man, you know, a lot of times the drumming is the last thing that we do. I got to deal with the whole list of things beforehand.
Mentoring the parents, their grades.
Time management, definitely.
Yeah, everything.
Good.
Great. You want to say something?
Just the one thing that I would add, because they hit on everything, is that every day when I'm about to drive to the school and I'm in my car, I tell myself this: be the leader that you needed growing up, and that's how I walk into the band room every day. And the leader doesn't necessarily have to be the one at the top. It's the mentor, the friend, the parent, because everybody's going to need somebody in one way or another. So that's just how I start my commute to the school every day. Is reminding myself that it's my job to be the leader that I needed growing up.
I'll say another thing that's different. Yeah. I'll say another thing that's different is, as a section leader, you know, you kind of had to be more aggressive when you spoke with your peers. And then as an instructor, I can kind of be that voice of reason. And, you know, basically, if you hear my voice raised, know that you've messed up. And so I really try to be in a place of, you know, just level-headed approach, be direct, you know, asking the section leaders, this is what I want, this is what I need to happen. Go forth and make it happen. The same way that I get directives given to me from Dr. Jones, I got to give directives to the section leaders, or, you know, my colleagues here. And, you know, we just have to get it done. We got, you know, limited time, and just go forth and be great. That's really all it comes down to.
Good, thank you.
Just lead by example and just keep it fun. You know, you have to keep the environment fun so that the kids not the kids, the students can enjoy themselves as they're learning. And you can also enjoy as you're teaching.
Good.
It's a lot easier to retain music when you have fun. So
Yeah, you're right. All right, so Mr. Nader, this question's for you. I'm a big drum corps fan. Supposed to try out for the Crossmen back in my days, but it was funding that kept me from doing it. I guess as a person who has marched DCI, how hard was the transition from coming from, I guess, HBCU style going into, you know, DCI? Top DCI is that? Top DCI corps?
Not to downplay the level of drum corps or anything like that, but it wasn't as difficult of a transition for me to go from HBCU to drum corps. You just have to really pay attention to detail. As far as like marching technique, there's a lot of like footwork, a lot of like I would say like dance technique, you know, like ballerina and everything like that. Like you learn pliés, you learn releves, you learn across the field work and everything like that. So it's just those things that help you execute the performance better, you know, that you probably wouldn't be mindful of if you was to just be on the field, like just doing a regular group or so. But the transition, really, it wasn't too hard. I really just had to buckle down and just make minor adjustments, like technique. I basically studied the Blue Devils. I was basically raised by Tim Green. So I had the East Coast, super German, like arm out, like approach. But then on the West Coast, they like American grip. So it's like that in between level with the right hand. And it's like a little bit more relaxed. So I had to adjust my own technique and really like crack in front of the mirror. And then I was even on treadmills, like crabbing, you know, whirling my feet, like just so I could get the separation between the upper body and lower body and everything that they talk about. So really it's just understanding your body and like all the small things to execute like a higher performance, really. But it's just that amount of dedication, you know, that they really do instill daily, really. So it's not hard for someone from HBCU to make it in a drum corps, because we're already comfortable with our bodies and our like just motions and dancing and drumming. It's a little bit different vice versa, because they aren't used to drumming and just like having the drum on a sling, having the drum just move naturally and still be able to play clean. So I think on the other side around, because like I said, at Disney, I was performing with Blue Devil alone, you know, Blue Devil age outs, SCV age outs, everything like that. So they had to learn how to march with a sling. At first they hated it, But once they got used to it, they was like, man, this is so much better than marching with a harness, because you can do a little bit more. You can perform better with a sling than you can with a harness. But the thing is, to play the notes that's necessary in drum corps, you need that steady surface. So that's the whole history of that. But it's really not hard at all, man.
Man, give me a harness any day. I hate slings.
Oh,
Yeah,
bro, my lower back would be killing me.
yeah. I just like EP said, I'm more. I like, my preference is harnesses personally. There's just things that you can do with harnesses. That's just me personally, but I'm glad you brought that comparison into light, because there's been some conversation, and I'm sure you've heard this conversation before, HBCU style drumming as compared to DCI drumming and, things like that. So thank you for bringing it to light and really giving your perspective on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So going back to when when me and Rick marched, we didn't have YouTube and I guess other social media stuff. So where I'm going with this is the talent level was good back then, but I feel now it's better because of the YouTubes, the different videos you can watch to get better, stuff like that. So going to the next question, talk to us about the talent that you seen while you were marching compared to the talent that you are seeing now. Mr. Ray, you can go first.
So the talent, it is always getting better. It is always increasing. And the one thing that does for me as an instructor is it always motivates me and pushes me to motivate my craft, because the bar is never going to stop. I thought I was really good when I was in high school, and then I got to college and it was somebody else. And then there's a Ralph Nader and a Harvey Thompson. And you're like, whoa. So it constantly pushes me to keep mastering my craft, so I can keep educating and pushing our young adults to the next level through their music.
Okay,
Yeah,
good. Go ahead.
I would say I definitely agree with that. I would say rudimentally first is completely different now than it was when I marched. And I was in between y'all and this generation now. So I would say the combinations we had then just aren't the same as they are now. Like, they're on another level sometimes. So I find myself having to research and practice these new things, like the grids, the hybrids. I have to sit down and play it. I feel like I'm back in middle school, doing everything real slow, make sure I get it right, so that way I can build my vocabulary, so I can write the things that they want to play. If you get kind of in this rut, what you know, that's what you write, that's what they play. They'll want to branch out, they'll want to add in. But if you're already giving them the things that they want to do, it really helps push them forward. It helps push me forward, helps really keep drumming going forward. So that's my approach to it.
Yeah, I mean, the drum activity, it evolves so much with technology. I know when I was growing up, before YouTube was really popping, you had in the lot videos. And that was the thing. And then you had snare science. Some people would transcribe some sprees or some parts of the show from drum corps and stuff. And basically, you would have to do the research. You would go into the library to do a project. So you have to do more work to find that type of material. But now everything is so accessible, which is great, because the thing is, our community, we could take a basic rudiment and we'd be like, oh, I want to switch this around, I want to switch that around, and we could post, and then you'd be 100 people that could learn it, post it, and then that would spread, and then that would spread. So it's like one little thing is constantly evolving, and then like we're constantly influencing each other. Like nowadays, someone can see one thing and go, oh man, that's dope, let me try that doing this. And then another person would see that, and then it just bridges off of it. So the age of technology is definitely enhancing our activity. And it's bridging the gap. And that was like one of my biggest goals, because being HBCU and DCI and being in the middle of that conflict and that beef, I wanted to connect that. And that's what BYOS was mainly for, is bring your own style. It's not core style in HBCU. It's really just performing as and finding that mutual platform. So yeah, man, it's that's what it is. Technology is the number one thing for our community right now.
Okay, good. And speaking of talent, and we've talked about this point pretty often here. So when we talk about that talent base, when you get those seniors coming in from high school and they're ready. They're ready to attack. They're ready to come in and just take over Hampton's line. They're ready to come over and take over Virginia State's line. They're that guy who's going to come in and just change the whole scope. But I think there's some things they have to realize. There are some challenges that I'm sure you guys see in that audition process, which kind of puts the brakes on folks. What are some of those challenges that you see with the current students coming in now?
I think it's just more.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chalmers.
So mostly for me is so our students that really do get onto the YouTubes and watch the videos and like learn how to play. I've noticed a lot that they can't subdivide it and break it down to the basics because they're not learning the basics. They're just reciting what they're reading or seeing someone play. So one thing that I always ask is, I always say, hey, well, break that down, or tell me how you're reading that, or can you subdivide that? Because that's the part a lot, and I can't even blame like our percussion instructors, but because there's so many resources for them to look and learn, but that's a lot that they're missing nowadays. And then so when it comes to getting new music in front of them, well, now they can't subdivide it, but if I play it, they'll play it back. So that's been one of the disadvantages of it. Of course, it pushes everyone's playing hands because they can play, but we're at a generation now where the by rope times are over, and we're putting music in front of people, and the only way to continue to progress is, by knowing how to subdivide, by knowing how to read, by understanding that partial and that diddle and where it's placed and things like that.
Good.
Mr. Hamilton. One of the things that I've noticed on audition day is first, just generally kids being nervous. I mean, it's that next level. You're trying to audition for college line. You're looking at it. It's like, oh, college is this whole new experience. I'm not sure if I'm ready. They kind of psych themselves out before they play. And like, I'm probably one of the few people. It's like, you already learned how to play. You did the hard work. You've been playing since middle school, high school, whatever. You already learned how to play. All you got to do is show me what you already learned. So I try to find this, this little level of comfort to get them to just, perform their material. On the negative side, still seeing a lot of students who just, don't know their basic fundamentals. So like what Mr. Red was saying, we can't go and personally attack every program because we don't know what they're going through. Obviously, they were able to be successful in their program, but there's a lot of things that we on the college level kind of expect students to come in with, at least the rudiments, that 40 rudiment list, just be able to regurgitate those. You don't have to play them necessarily the fastest, but you should have that content knowledge because everything you do is, everything we do is still based off those. You look at hybrids, it's two of those put together and they move an accent around. Like everything you want to become playing starts from there. And then even before that, it was the list of 25. So it is really, that's the biggest thing is seeing the fundamentals missing from a lot of students. Other than that, I mean, I give a little leeway for my people that say they play tenor, drum, or cymbals. I understand, like there's some people, they never really did sticks. They didn't do concert band. They didn't do that stuff. They only played cymbals. So I'm like, all right, now I got to find a common ground with them. How can I audition a cymbal player who doesn't know their rudiments, but they know a lot about cymbals? So, show me the fundamentals of cymbals. How do you flip up? How do you flip down? Various crashes, things like that. I got to find out what they can actually bring if I'm gonna, allow them to be on the section. So.
Good point.
For me, it's just analyzing techniques, because you're gonna have students from all over. So now you have to funnel everyone's habits, everyone's techniques, and everyone's playing abilities, and just find that common ground and just start from there and build up. So for me, that's something that I look forward to. It's because it's like a restart process, but it's really just the beginning of a new thing. So I'm hyped for that. The whole technique thing, building the style, having that presence, building the look of the line, that's huge because, like I said, you have so many students coming from other organizations, probably deep down the south. They have like a whip, so now you have to adjust it. Like, all right, you got to use more wrist and arm and everything like that. So it's just those things too that just pay mind to.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Hey, EP, you know, we've heard this so many times, right? It's just those basic fundamentals in that audition process. It's so many times to our viewers, to our potential students who are coming, please listen. You know, don't believe me. You know, there's other people out here who are saying the same thing. But what do you got to say about that?
I mean, Mr. Red, he hit on a good point. You know, might have the hands, but they don't have the, I guess, the theory. You know, the subdivision, the where the diddles are going, different stuff like that. You might can play everything at 250 beats per minute, but you gotta understand the theory behind it also.
Okay. Hey, real quick sidebar. Since we're talking about you know, challenges with the audition process, I'm gonna do a little role play here with you. Okay, just real small, right? And give me a school that's in the give me another school that's in the MEAC.
Delaware State.
Huh?
Delaware State.
Well, this is for
Oh, for them.
yeah, for them, yeah.
All right.
Oh, for us, let's see. Well, I'll just keep with Ace, what you said. We'll go with Delaware State.
Okay, so I'm really looking at Delaware State. I'm really looking. You guys play them, right?
Not anymore unless they come up on our schedule. We're in the Big South now.
Okay, so not anymore. Obviously, Big South. So I'm torn between Delaware State and coming to Hampton. Come on, man, give me the best 30-second pitch on why I should come to Hampton.
All right. So first of all, we got. I mean, can we assume what instrument they play on, or you just want to just sell the student?
I'm drumline, man. I'm trying to rock out.
All right. So you know, we have a very unique style. We look at it. You know, I'm just not trying to throw anybody under the bus or anything like that. We're being real. So we look at it as like A&T is the extreme one side, Norfolk is the extreme other side. And we want to take this, you know, this gap that's in the middle. We give them 15% on each side. We want all the rest of that is our audience. So we want to be able to chop. We want to be able to dance. We want to be able to do all of those things, but in our own unique way. We also look at, you know, what the school offers. We don't just sell the band. We look at the school. The academics is honestly the key point, and that's usually where one of our bigger seller points is, you know, a lot of people graduate Hampton and they don't start entry-level jobs. They come in and they're a boss. Like they're coming on these upper management levels. You know, the success rate of people graduating, things like that. But the program overall, like we're growing. You want to come in and make a name for yourself. This is ideally the time to do it because we are rebranding. You know, you can be that next face, you know, especially with the technology we got going on. So we've been fortunate to get very good recruits these last few years. Some students who already have a public image of sorts. So, you know, you can work with them, you can learn from each other. We have a, you know, very diverse background of students. We got students from up north, from down south, East Coast, West Coast. You know, you can really, really thrive here. So,
What do you think, EP? You going?
I'm going, man. I'm about to submit my application now. I'm going.
This is the year to do it. This is the year to do it.
Definitely.
Let's go.
I don't know. I will say this, man. If you guys are going to be as good as you say you are, I have got to play against you. I would opt to go I have got to play against you.
Oh, yeah.
See?
I have got to play against you.
and you're gonna be standing there crying.
Hard.
I've got to be on there. I got to be on the other side. But thank you for that. Thank you for that.
All right, so going to the next question. I'm big into compositions, writing, arranging. Talk to us about your writing style and process as far as compositions, and whoever can go first for us.
Rafi can go first.
You always got to supply the groove, one, because that's what the common air is going to follow. You can't be all over the place. You can have technical parts, but still within the groove. So for my writing approach, I'm always going to supply the groove to get your head bobbing, to make you feel what we're providing, but I'm also going to chop you out with it. So I'm going to have that, but it's also about the balance. This space is not just notes on a sheet. You have to deal with space. You have to find pockets for each section. You can't just have everybody just like basses doing 16th note splits and the quads are doing tuplets down the line. it's going to clash. Those meters are going to crash. So it's like really understanding where the pocket is going to be for each rhythm so that everything's coming out clean. And then also just being precise with the unison hits. You know, every drum line, if you hit exactly at the same time, you will feel that in your entire body. But once you hit them flams, it's like you can feel something is off. But once the entire drum line is on the same note, man, it's powerful. So that's basically how I'm writing, like strong unisons, intricate parts, but with the groove. We got space for visuals, dancing, all that stuff. Like I'm here to just provide entertainment for everybody, man. Like I'm here to have a good time and watch the students have a good time with it. So.
Yeah.
Red.
Oh, Red. I'm sorry, Red.
Okay. Red.
You know, for me, I just make sure that everything that I write tells a story. Whether it's my good day, I wrote this. Whether these chicken nuggets from McDonald's, I just got a fire and I gotta write about it on this paper. But you know, I always, you know, just in my style, I always start off with the groove. And since I'm a bass player, typically I'll have like some fire bass part in my head. And then so I lay that down, and then I, you know, and then I play cymbals. So then I start with a cymbal part to accent that, or you know, to accent the loud beats with a crash. And then from there I go to my quint so I can get a little funk, and then I go to my snares so I can get my little chop, but still bring it back to a funk in the same point. But my thing is, at the end of every piece, I want to leave somebody like, damn, what's next? Like, you can't be like, you got to give me some more.
I'll say, for me, I've had to revise my writing process several times, just from the nature of, you know, my background. I started with the chorus style. So, you know, it was a lot of basically taking the snare part, copying it down on all the other parts and, you know, moving them around the drums or the tones and, you know, seeing, you know, what can come up. And me personally, you know, I'm listening to it on Finale and Sibelius. I'm listening to it about 5 times. Because I'm listening to snares the first time, quint second time, basses third. Like I had to go back and listen to it every time for each instrument. I couldn't just listen to the piece. So it was very complex at first. So I really had to, you know, dial all it back. Like, what is the basic drum set groove? You know, what is it that I really just want people to listen to? Because if you only get that one time to listen to it, so, you know, you don't get replays. So taking it all the way back. And then, you know, I think of it like layers. Like when you're making a beat, you know, you put your 808 in, you get your 2 and 4 in, and then everybody does that one hi-hat, the little that's basically the snare part without the accents. So, you know, really, I know we hit on the accent tap differential, but you know, those taps set in that backbeat, and it's very important to have those be underneath, you know, the other things that are supposed to come out. But basically, I kind of look at it like, you know, building a beat in that way, and then also just being eclectic to what I listen to for references. So I listen to, you know, EDM, metal, country, rock, you know, hip hop, R&B, just listen to some of everything, Afro beats. I've been starting to get into that more, you know, hanging out with Ralph because he's like pushing me on what I listen to. He's like, hey, check this out. Always sending me something new. You know, just getting ideas, getting real creative to push yourself. Like you can't just get stuck in one spot. So I know E listens to a lot of Latin flavor and stuff with him being on congas and things like that and bongos. Like he's always brought in some type of Latin element, whether it be a straight Latin groove or, you know, just sneaking it in here and there. Like that's kind of his signature tagline. I'm trying to find something that could be unique me. You know, I listen to a lot of indoor WGI for, you know, bass parts. They do a lot of, you know, splits, you know, that are just very unique. And it's like, how can I incorporate that in the HBCU style since we have access to those tonal splits? Like, you know, we play that style. Where can we use it and still fall that into, you know, something that's going to get your head nodding? But also, you know, we got to link. And this next thing I'm working on, you know, working with Red and Nader here, leaving space to dance. Like I'm so used to just, you know, letting the groove speak for itself. It's like leave space to move. Like we don't perform for just people standing around watching, you know, it's not an in the lot performance. Like we are the actual performer. So that's something else I'm looking at. Like we talked about leaving space for your stuff. It's not just leaving space for the instruments to be heard, but also to add in that visual element that a lot of people are missing right now.
That's some good points. Thank you. I will want to chime in and say, to my buddy here, my friend EP the Great, he's seen a lot of folks have come under him. A lot of folks have come through him, and folks have gone out and done their own things. They're writing and everything. And I will say this, that he has left an influence, because I can hear some things, and I'm saying, hold up, it sounds familiar. But I've known EP a long time, so I'm really dialed into how he writes and everything. So that's good. All good points here. EP, you got something to say on that?
Man, but like Alex said, I guess the Congress, me playing Congress growing up helped me listen to other music besides what I seen on MTV or BET. Listening to the West African rhythms and stuff like that. So, like you said, it's a good point, man. Open your ears to different music, and that's what everyone out there listening. Open your ears to different, rock and roll, like you said, country, bluegrass.
Even tap into like Brazilian drums ensembles and everything, man. Like those rhythms, all that stuff is really influential, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Seriously.
Yeah. So as we really get a little bit deeper into this, you guys remind me of built just an all-star squad. 3 percussionists here. They have a dynamic drum line and everything. What does the big picture for Hampton's Drumline look like? What is the bigger vision at this point?
Bigger vision. To basically, I guess, raise the standard in Virginia, to be that new marquee once you pass the Dixie line, But yeah, basically just raise the bar a little bit, change the game, shake it up, just provide something new. It's a lot of things been done before, but I guess it's also just approach. So we're just doing small things, but now we're starting with a clean slate to really initiate new beginnings. So that's what I can say so far.
Okay, clean the state and set the standard, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Nader, good point.
So yeah, my thing is continue to build on a positive growth track. Like we've been growing over the last few years, so I want to continue doing that. I want to build a culture that's inviting but also challenging. Like we want people to want to be here. I want to go to Hampton to see what it is that we're doing, not just in the band, but academically as well. Like we always celebrate the academics, of course. And we just want the best players, period. Like, just breeding greatness, and then continue to grow. And like I think there was a couple people who said in a previous episode I had to go back and do a little research, but I didn't want to get put on the spot too bad. But like you come out of high school, some places you're the best player, and then you go to college and it's like, oh snap, I'm just okay. And how do I make my how do I find in here? How do I fit in here? How do I excel here? So like we want to look at those kids and be like, all right, that's where I'm saying inviting, bring them in, challenge them, continue to grow, and put them out, because those are going to be your future percussion instructors. They're going to go back to high schools, if they're on that track, they're going to go and they're going to continue this craft that we love so much. Like we can't just let it end with us. We want it to come here as like be a stopping point to go on and do greater things. Like you look at some of the things Ralph did. He didn't let his circumstances, keep him in one spot. He actually used those to his advantage and went out and did better things. Like he's got a certain level of toughness that you don't see often, but that level of toughness helps him be in the forefront. Like he's not afraid to go up and talk to somebody because who he is. He's very humble about things like that. But at the same time, that's a quality we want to instill in future leaders of tomorrow. Like, don't be afraid to walk into a room and introduce yourself. Like, speak with your head up, chest out, all those things we talk about, posture and all those things that we talk about on the drum line. They're key for that performance, but can also take those and apply them to your daily life. So,
Mr. Hamilton,
I had. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry about. Go ahead, finish.
I would say those things you learn in band, just applying them to your daily life. Punctuality, posture, how you carry yourself means so much. You can walk into a room, not say a thing, but you walk in like you own the place. Nobody's gonna mess with you. Those types of things.
Very good
just
points.
yeah.
Yeah, good points. And I think I wanted to just say, just instilling the confidence, that's a very important point. So, to you high school seniors out there, Hampton might be the place for you. Mr. Red, did you have any?
No, they hit on it all, but most importantly, the bigger picture is to create that legacy, and I can only imagine like how EP feels now that he looks at Alex, and that's one of his students that's progressed. So to create that legacy of where our students are becoming those bosses that Hampton create, being able to sit back and say, yo, that person played on our drumline 5 years ago, and now they're running this company, or hey, that person played with us 10 years ago, and now they're teaching at a college. So just instilling those skills and those life lessons and those strategies and those behaviors, that's going to be needed for you to be successful.
Okay, good. Very good points. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. As we get ready to close it on out here, just one last thing here. What can we look forward to with you guys' drumline next season?
All the smoke. Anybody who stands close, we're coming.
Trying to give everybody the hands.
Well, we ain't but a couple hours away. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Hey, I'm about to say we can have it just instructors too. My uncle lives in Richmond.
Yeah.
Okay, good, gentlemen. I just wanted to say, really, we appreciate you guys coming on, and obviously for our 20th episode, thank you. This has been a real treat to really get a look at what Hampton is going to be doing and what the bigger picture is going forward. EP, you got anything on that?
Man, just I'm happy for you guys. I do want to say, Alex, very proud of you, man. Very proud of all of you guys, but especially Alex. Saw you when you first came in band camp. I think you had cornrows then.
Yeah. Yep.
But glad to see you graduate, man. Do your thing, get your master's now. You one of the big dogs now. Very proud of you.
Yeah. Congratulations, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
It's also thanks to E. Thanks to E, because he definitely pushed me back in the day. Like, we talk about leaving that legacy, Ricardo, that you were talking about. The things E did. He was telling us that he was changing his life, turning over a new leaf, trying to be a better Christian. All of that.
Yeah.
He did reach out to us a little bit on that. It did touch us. Seeing E actually put forth that effort. He come in, he was having a rough day. He would, getting a new job, learning how to do that. He was, writing music wherever he could, and bringing it in, just like learn my stuff. And he would, he just really pushed us, really kind of instilled a lot of a level of focus that I still have, and that drive to still do things today. So also thank you, E.
No
Thank
problem,
you, guys.
bro.
Yeah, so as we bring it to a close, it's bonus time. And obviously for our 20th episode, we're not going to hold back at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right on in. Mr. Hamilton. All right, let's wind the clock back to when you were at, what was your best year at Virginia State?
It's probably between 8 and 9. We honestly were down to 4 snares, or right after that when we blew back up and had about 8, somewhere in there.
So about what year was that?
Between, I think it was that 08, 09 area.
So you guys were bringing us smoke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Nader, what was your best year?
Oh man, I said my best year would probably have to be 08 or 09. Because
relative.
No. It might be 07 or 08, because I came in 06. But that's when we had harnesses, but we switched to leg rests in 07. And then my boys from Cookman came, my boy from Norfolk came over. So we had more hands in the squad. So that's when we started making the transition. So I would say 07 and 08.
Okay, so good. We got relative areas. So Mr. Hamilton, who's the better drumline? Who takes the gold snare away? Your best year or Mr. Nader's best year? V-State versus Hampton. Who walks away with that?
See, this is tricky because we didn't see them back then. Only evidence I got to go on is the mask video with the chairs and convo. So as far as the performance side of it goes, I definitely got to give it to them. But as far as like, you know, beats and things like that, it's like your audience. It depends on what you want to see. If you want to see somebody throw beats, you know, I would have give it to BSU. But if you want to see a total performance, it probably would have been Hampton that year.
Well, wait till you see Hampton now. We're gonna provide all the beats too, so it's all good.
Okay, so Mr. Red, I'm not going to leave you out as well. Let's look at it like this. Take a step back from Hampton, right? And you got your opportunity to get your hands on any other HBCU drumline. 30 days to just take it over and do whatever you want to do with it. Who would that school be and why?
I'm going home. I'm going back to Winston-Salem State. It's so much potential there, especially since they're starting to form their identity. I don't have to overcome the alumni battles or trying to learn the traditions because I've been there, done that. I'm taking my talents back home, and we're gonna build, baby.
We're going to take it back to the home team, right?
Yes, sir.
That was fun. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right,
You're more than welcome.
yeah, so we usually have two bonus questions. Where y'all drumsticks and pads at? We trying to see something.
Uh-oh.
No pads and sticks. I know Ralph's ready.
Don't leave us hanging. Don't leave us hanging, Mr. Hamilton. No, please don't.
Where you at? I know you at the restaurant, but
Where's the straws?
Oh, man.
Man.
he ain't waste no time.
Who wants to go first?
He already going.
He already going.
He ain't waste no time.
You got it.
You waste no time. We didn't hear you, so you're going to have to do it again.
Wait till I gotta do it again.
Yeah, you got to slide back so we can see you. We didn't even hear
Hold
you.
on. I gotta make sure you guys have a good angle.
All right, so here we go.
Don't let us down, Alex.
I'm the businessman. I got 50,000 on the table. Give me your best stuff. If it's good, I'm gonna sign it. 50,000. Let's Ralph, you go. You first.
What? I already went.
Oh, no, we didn't pick it up.
Yeah, it didn't pick up. And he got the lights going.
And the lights to choreograph what he's playing.
Oh, I give you my money. You got the job. Alex, you gonna get the job or what?
You gonna make me play after that, man? Come
Hey,
on.
man, don't let us down.
Okay.
Pocket.
Good.
All right.
Okay. Y'all both got the job.
Mr.
Red, you
Red.
good? What you gonna do?
Hey,
I ain't got nothing on me.
Yeah, hey, look, man, give us a hand.
You better
clap or
beatbox or
something.
you gotta play on
the.
play on your chest, something.
I'll come back with the job, though. Don't worry, fellas.
You better beatbox.
Word.
No,
All right.
but we want to thank you guys. Thank you.
Good. So we come
Thank
to
you.
we have come to an end. Like to thank these three great guys for taking time off their day to come on our podcast. To everyone, please like, follow, share. HBCU Drumline Talk is for the culture, not for us. Please follow us, like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio. Spread the word. Other than that, you guys take care. We'll see you next time.
Oh man, thanks a million for having us.
I appreciate it, y'all. Thank y'all again.
Yeah.
Yes, have a great night.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.